I'm super pumped today because we are talking about Dragon Ball in the world of My Hero Academia. And even more importantly, I'm not alone. With me, I have the cool What If YouTuber plus Ultraman.
Yo, what's up, both members of the Flow Soldier fam and this channel's community. I would just like to say that I am here to lend my skills of What If Free over to My Hero My Life. And shameless plug, but if you like Dragon Ball What Ifs, you'll definitely find yourself quite at home as a member of the Flow Soldier fam as well.
Yeah guys, definitely go check out his channel right after this video. There's a link down in the description. But before we get into today's video, I want Plus Ultraman to help us go over a few ground rules.
1. Because this is the world of My Hero Academia and not Dragon Ball, all characters will be human and not alien. If they look alien, that is simply due to their quirk. 2. Due to Goku and Vegeta not being able to be Saiyans, we'll connect them as cousins. Finally, because Dragon Ball characters are way more powerful than My Hero Academia characters, they have been scaled down to fit this universe.
Exactly. So we won't be seeing any kind of attacks that can destroy planets or anything like that. With that being said, let's do this. After lunch at the UA Sports Festival, everyone gathers in the stadium for the final event. It is a one-on-one tournament. Participants are matched up by lottery. Before the lots are drawn, President Mike announces that Team Shinzo had been disqualified due to unsportsmanlike conduct. He then explains that this means Team Goku will be joining the last event. He announces the lineup. First up is Zuko Midoriya versus Tenya Ida. Unlike the main canon, the latter did not receive equipment from Mei Hatsume. The battle between the two boys is personal, more so for Ida. He tries to finish the battle with his speed racing forward. He delivers a kick that sends his opponent sliding backwards. He moves in to make a second attack. Picturing the egg in the microwave, Izuku tries to keep it from exploding. Focusing the power of One for All, he swipes with an open hand. The force of the energy he expels manifests as a powerful gust of wind. It flies through the air. Tenya's legs are dragged out from under him by the attack. He hits the ground hard. His momentum drags him across the arena floor. Midoriya steps out of the way. Rolling and rising, the fallen one manages to find himself right at the edge of the ring. The pipes sticking out from his legs flare up, emitting bright blue flames. He raises his voice to be heard over the whine of his engines. "I'm sorry, Midoriya. I should have known that it would take my very best to defeat your dedication and determination, but I told you I will not lose to you. Recipro burst!" Accelerating, Ida rushes forward and drives his knee into the other's chest. The force of it sends Izuku flying across the ring, sliding to a stop. His vision darkens and he feels himself fading away. It seems to be over. He barely hears the other contender closing in to ensure victory. In the darkness, a light flashes and the boy sees 8 figures draped in shadow and shining yellow eyes. His own gloss over. Bright colors swirl over his body as full power One for All hits him for less than a second. His body moves on his own, rising and catching Ida's arm. Snapping back to reality, the nearly unconscious boy turns and throws his opponent over his shoulder. Landing outside of the ring, Tenya feels the defeat more than any physical pain. He picks himself up, dusts himself off, and congratulates his friend. The second match features Shoto Todoroki versus Hanto Sero. Shoto uses his ice in an overwhelming fashion to freeze half of the arena, his adversary included. He is declared the victor. President Mike announces the next students, Denkai Kaminari and Piccolo Namekian. The two of them enter the arena stage. Kaminari spouts off about how the match will be over in seconds. His opponent seems unfazed and chooses to use the time to launch an attack. Piccolo's arms fly through the air and grab the other boy. They wrap around the electric kid and pull the green teen through the air. His legs follow suit. Kaminari snickers and unleashes his indiscriminate shock. All 1.3 million volts run through his opponent. Piccolo screams and twitches at the energy surge into him. He unravels his arms and stretches them out, slamming his fist into the ground to help dissipate the energy. He discovers the electric kid dumbfounded. The Namekian is declared the winner.
As the fighters enter the stage, they are presented as Krillin Shikuyan and Goku Saiyan. Krillin remarks that the stone of the ring will hurt a lot when he hits a fellow contender with it. Goku smiles and retorts that it only matters if he can be hit. He focuses his ki into his legs to increase his speed. His opponent lifts his arms and tilts his body to raise his palm higher. The stone beneath him crumbles and swirls around him. It gathers in his palm and he launches it. The disc soars through the air, but his opponent sidesteps it and he leaps forward. Then he launches a couple quick ki blasts. The bald teen dodges one, but the other catches him in the shoulder. Knocking him off balance, the orb causes him to drop a second disc. It shatters into a pile of pebbles. Goku closes in and throws a barrage of punches. While he swings, his brain screams at him that the noseless child's forehead is different. Something is missing. Dodging some of the hits and taking others, Krillin is driven back into one of the corners of the ring. He raises his leg and lands a vicious kick to the other boy's midsection. And jarred from his thoughts, Goku falls. He lets out a cry of both surprise and pain. A tail slides out from beneath his clothes. It snags the leg of his opponent and sweeps it out from under him. Falling onto his back and out of bounds, Krillin sits up shocked. President Mike announces Goku the winner. It was then the loser of the match notices his hand outside the ring. He knows that he does not remember that boy having a tail. Eraserhead explains that it is a unique mutation passed down. The whole Saiyan family has tails, and while they may look like a monkey's, they grow back like a lizard's. He theorizes that Goku and his cousin must have lost theirs at some point. While the ring is cleared and repaired, the next two competitors are announced, Mina Ashido and Vegeta Saiyan. They enter the ring. Mina waves to the crowd and grumbles something about having to fight the edgy short one. Her opponent frowns, and as soon as the match is called, he fires a Gallic gun, but she slides out of the way using acid. She moves closer and swings her fist at Vegeta. Acid flying through the air, he bobs away from her. Surprising him, she continues slinging haymakers while pursuing him with her sliding technique, but he continued to weave away from her, not actually seeing the full scope of her game. The acid on both him and the surrounding area caused him to slide, but surprising her, he stabbed his foot down into the arena floor. He then snatches her hand and mocks her for being too slow and too weak, and informs her that he isn't even using his quirk right now. Cracking a cheeky smile, the girl kicks Vegeta in the shin and follows up with a push. By the time he realizes his mistake, he is already sliding through the acid once again and toward the edge of the ring. He manages to turn himself around and hurls a signature attack for a second time. Groaning about imitating Goku, he flies back across the ground and into Ashido. As they were both about to fall to the ring, he enhances the muscles in his fingers and once again stabs into the ring, bringing himself to a stop as she slides out. She hits the ground and is out of bounds.
Vegeta passes Tokoyami on his way out of the arena. The bird-faced adolescent says he usually is not one to pry, but he notices the regrowth of Goku's tail. The Saiyan boy growls and turns towards the other child. His malice fills the air, it surrounds the other kid, and the aura of it steals his breath away. Then, as suddenly as it had appeared, the feeling disperses. Vegeta mumbles something about having lost his tail again recently. He leaves the boy wondering how. The sixth match features Fumikage Tokoyami and Momo Yaoyorozu. Tokoyami uses Dark Shadow's attack to make Momo step out of bounds. A match that is followed by Bulma Briefs versus Ijiro Kirishima. When Bulma heads for the ring, she finds Mei Hatsume waiting for her. The other girl smiles and waves as she approaches. Commending her for making it into the tournament, Mei asks if her rival has a plan. A small nod is her reply as the contender takes a deep breath. Holding out what looks like a small wrist-mounted cannon, the girl says that she's already tested it. Bulma takes it and straps it to her arm. She presses a button and a compartment opens on the side. She fills it with capsules while speaking. My quirk contains things in a fashion small enough to be thrown. The idea of firing them never occurred to me. Smiling, the other girl comments, "That's why I'm the real genius. Now get out there before they disqualify you." Blue hair drifts through the air as the girl nods and rushes to the center of the ring. When the battle begins, the Briefs girl extends her arm and squeezes the triggering mechanism. A couple capsules pop out of the end of the barrel. With a poof of light, sound, and smoke, they change into turrets. Opening fire, they shoot pellets at the boy. Kirishima hardens his body. The pellets burst open on contact, spreading a gas. Upon inhaling, he feels his legs begin to shake and his eyes eyes begin to blur. He struggles to retain consciousness. Shaking his head, he runs forward and grabs the girl's shoulders. He pushes her back, all the while more pellets hit him. The gas flows into Bulma's nostrils. Within seconds, she falls over, unable to stay awake. A second and a half later, the boy follows her. The difference in time is noted by Kirishima is declared the winner. Both competitors are moved to the nurse's office to rest. Replacing those two for the 8th match are Katsuki Bakugo and Ochaka Uraraka. Pulling some nice moves, Uraraka has a good plan all on her own. Unfortunately for her, it is not enough as she loses to Bakugo. The final match of the first round concludes. Soon after, they start the second round with Izuku Midoriya and Shoto Todoroki. The match is therapeutic for Todoroki, and not just because he's the winner. Through the use of his flames, he moves forward. They call in the next participants, Goku Saiyan and Piccolo Namekian. The two boys enter the ring. Piccolo says that the Saiyan kid must be upset with him about the cavalry battle. Confused, the other teen wonders aloud what his opponent is talking about. The green one snickers to him before saying something about the other being slow and dumb. Though he understands the insult, Goku ignores the attempt to goad him. Annoyed that his vocal jab missed the mark, the Namekian child reaches for the other boy. The arm stretches out and tries to deliver a blow. Catching it in his hand, Goku jumps off the ground. He shouts the name of his signature technique and forces ki through his feet. Using something he watched during Vegeta's first match, he also focuses some into one arm and digs his feet into the stone of the stage. He is pushed away, but his opponent even more so. The beam crashes into Piccolo and drags him out of the ring. He lands outside of it and is declared the loser. Berating himself for underestimating the skill of his adversary, the teen silently acknowledges a new goal. The next time he faces the Saiyan, he will not lose. On his way out of the arena, he finds Krillin waiting for him. The bald one takes a dig at the green teen for having lasted longer in the ring. Piccolo pushes past him, yelling that the two of them have a lot of training to do after the festival. With a groan, Krillin follows him.
After the second match, President Mike announces the next competitors, Vegeta Saiyan and Fumikage Tokoyami. The former acknowledges his opponent with a nod that is followed with a quip about how easy this will be. Tokoyami tries to disagree and calls out Dark Shadow. A Gallic gun flies by and Dark Shadow quivers though. He whines about the light of the beam. Several ki blasts follow the attack, each one carefully aimed to corner Dark Shadow. Meanwhile, Vegeta closes the distance between the two. He comes up to the side of his friend and delivers a single blow that explodes with energy. Tokoyami falls to the arena floor unconscious. The winner says something about it being a bad matchup and he leaves the ring. The final battle of the second round pits Katsuki Bakugo against Ejiro Kirishima. Rock Hard Skin takes explosion after explosion, but in the end, Bakugo is declared the winner and moves on to the third round. Meanwhile, in one of the waiting rooms, Goku hears a knock on his door and he calls for the person on the other side of it to come on in. When the door opens, he is surprised to see his mother, Gine. Happy to see her, he asks her how she got in here.
I called in a favor from a friend of your father's. I wanted to be here to cheer you on,
replies his mother as she enters and closes the door. She steps across the room and wraps her boy in her arms. After a moment, she grinds her fists against his head. While mildly painful, the child does not seem to mind. He smiles and nuzzles against her. Do you think Bardock would be proud of me?
Don't call him that. It's disrespectful.
The woman winces when she hears the man's name, and she corrects her son. Her heart aches. It sends a pulse through her body, and she pulls him even tighter. Muttering about the woman suffocating him in her excitement, the kid tries to pull away. Sighing, she lets him go and answers his question.
Don't ever doubt it, kiddo. Your father loved you and couldn't wait to see what you would become. You think I am enthusiastic? You might not have survived if it was your father here. He never made it through the hero course, but he was strong.
I'm going to be even stronger than him, declares Goku, as he shifts his weight and wraps his tail around his waist.
I'm sure you will.
Gine states before taking notice of the renewed appendage. She smiles.
Congratulations on getting your tail back. What perfect timing, too. I know you were getting worried about it. You are definitely not hanging out with your uncle again.
But Mom! Goku starts to complain before he hears his and Todoroki's names being called.
We will talk about this later.
The woman says as she wraps her arms around her son, she hugs him and places a kiss on top of his head. Returning the hug, the boy basks in her warmth. Then the moment passes and she watches him leave.
Goku finds his fellow contender already waiting in the arena. He apologizes for being late to Todoroki, but he shrugs it off and warns that he'll make this quick. Still angry from his talk with his father, he unleashes a massive wave of ice, like he did against Midoriya. It freezes Goku solid. Midnight is about to declare the Son of Endeavor the winner, when a flash of energy tears the ice away from the Saiyan boy. Landing on his feet, he shouts that it will not be so easy to take him down. He enhances his legs and escapes another attack from Todoroki. He closes the distance between them and delivers a barrage of blows to his midsection before escaping another attack. This time, Todoroki sparks up his flame, causing Goku to leap back. Controlling himself, Todoroki waves his hands and generates even more ice. Overflowing with energy now, Goku rushes forward and leaps towards his enemy with both fists in front of him. But the energy quickly fades. He soars past Todoroki and lands on his stomach. The organ lets out a loud ferocious sound and the boy curls up in pain. As he rolls around whining about not getting enough to eat, out of bounds, Todoroki is named the winner.
President Mike calls out Vegeta Saiyan and Katsuki Bakugo. Vegeta looks down upon his cousin and takes a bite out of an apple. He chews it and swallows it. Why are you such worthless trash? Our quirks require a lot of energy. How can you be so short-sighted? It's a gift, states Goku as he stares at the apple. Behind him, Bakugo enters the arena. Vegeta takes another bite from the apple and tosses it onto the ground. The other Saiyan boy snatches it up and nearly shoves the whole thing in his mouth. Swallowing, the proud son of King Vegeta snarls, "Get out of the way! Go have your snack while I take one more step towards winning this tournament."
As soon as the ring is cleared and the match begins, Bakugo utilizes his mobility and enters his opponent's base, surprising his classmate. He then sends a smaller kid flying with an explosion. Like a genius, Vegeta spins and pushes off the ground. He lands on his feet and fires his signature attack. The other boy dodges by moving himself up and closes in again. A second barrage of explosions now pushes the Saiyan prodigy back. Finding himself on the edge of the arena, he enhances his entire body and refuses to move back any further. While Bakugo lands explosion after explosion, he wonders aloud how long his opponent can hold out. All he gets to reply is an arrogant smirk. It infuriates him, and he leaps in, launching even more attacks, each slower and slower than the last. His arms began to throb, and a solid hit from his opponent sends him stumbling back and down onto one knee. It becomes apparent that he cannot win like this. Struggling to stand, he hears the other team mocking him. He growls and takes stock of the battlefield once again. Cracks run throughout the entire surface beneath their feet. An idea forms. Betting it all on this tactic, Katsuki slides his feet apart and bends his knees. He raises his arms and brings his wrists close together. His fingers then curl as he prepares to unleash the largest explosion yet, and Vegeta notices this. He pours more energy into defense and braces himself while still running his mouth. But then, Bakugo's blast causes a bright flash, and he's forced to close and cover his eyes from the pain. Just when he had nearly regained his sight, his eyes widen when he realizes Bakugo is in the air above him, and just then, he released that huge blast down onto the damaged arena that he stood on. His body stands the force while being burned lightly, but a bit more importantly, the floor crumbles beneath him and he collapses outside, outwitted and defeated. He was not the target of that last attack. The boy stares up at the winner of the match, his angry defiance holding back his tears. Standing, he walks out without saying anything. Outside the arena, he discovers Tokiyami waiting for him. The other boy says something about how dark a day it is now. Vegeta nods and murmurs something about letting his ego get the better of him again. He then hears his father before he sees them. It is at that moment that he realizes that friends can be useful. He uses Tokiyami as an excuse to not address the man. The two of them walk past without a word. Minutes later, the ring is restored, and Shoto Todoroki faces Katsuki Bakugo in the final round. The latter badgers the icy hot boy, trying to get him to use his flames. When he refuses throughout the whole match, it causes him to lose. This is the fact that does not make Katsuki happy. He refused to acknowledge this as his win. He is so enraged that Midnight used her quirk to put him to sleep in front of the cameras.
When Katsuki awakens, he howls for Todoroki's name like a wild animal. Refusing to calm down, he is forced into restraints and taken to the arena. Placed on a pedestal, the one he called for stands to his right. The boy struggles to get free, but to no avail. He doesn't even see Vegeta on his left, but he hears him. "You might have proven yourself to be the strongest today, but you also proved that you're the biggest child here. Would you stop throwing a tantrum?" The words only infuriate Bakugo more. He turns and yells. Even with the muzzle on, the Saiyan boy can feel the other's rage. Before he can respond, the three are approached by All Might. Standing before the number one hero, Vegeta finds himself at a loss for words. In the presence of someone truly great, he felt so small. The feeling reminded him of the way he used to feel in his father's presence. It felt safe, fleeting. The emotion ran and hid deep within him. All Might moved on.
Elsewhere in the nurse's office, Goku sits in a bed. The bed next to him holds Deku. In between the two sits Bulma, holding a small screen with the broadcast of the ceremony. Amidst the fits of laughter, the Saiyan child shovels food into his mouth. Izuku warns him to slow down or he might wind up choking, to which Goku whines, but the food disappears at a slower rate. Then it stops altogether. Verbally agreeing this time, Deku smiles and tries to raise his arms. He winces in pain and lowers them. Bulma laughs a little. Now that the match is over, Recovery Girl returns and shoos the girls out. The Briefs girl pushes the button on the screen to turn into a capsule and heads out. The nurse turns to Goku and tells him to finish eating so that he can let Deku rest.
I really wanted to win. Goku pauses for a moment. Neither of the other two break the silence, but Deku silently agrees. After taking a bite, he continues to talk. But I had a lot of fun. There are so many other strong students here. I have to get stronger. And that is all the time we have for today. Thank you so much, Plus Ultraman, for joining us.
Thanks for having me on the channel, man. I'm humbled by the opportunity and I really enjoyed your story. Thanks to your community for having me. If you guys enjoy my storytelling, like I mentioned earlier, there are tons of stories on my channel right now, and I promise I will finish them all at some point. And not just Dragon Ball. I actually have one of the most viewed My Hero What Ifs at the moment, like on all of YouTube, and I've got some pretty popular Naruto-based scenarios as well. So why not go give those a watch? And once again, thanks for having me on, and MHML, please feel free to visit my channel sometime for a collab. Be sure to take care of yourselves, and as always, go beyond, plus ultra. See you guys next time.
All right, everybody, I want to encourage you all to go check out his channel. There's a link down in the description. Thanks again for watching, and we will see you guys next time.